A 14-year-old trying to make a name for himself in the gang world.
And the passenger asked the person in the driver if he can shoot him. And then the person in the driver said yes.
A young mother caught in the crossfire.
Ma'am, I'm gonna cut your seatbelt, okay? I'm Officer Leffer with the Denver Police Department, okay?
In a high-speed chase that ended in a life-altering interrogation.
I'm sorry, Mom.
This one reckless night shattered lives forever.
This is like a big deal. This isn't like, oh, you stole a car and didn't go to school. Like, someone lost their life, dude.
Behind somebody's dumb that you was in the car with.
It was late, just past 10:45 p.m. The streets of Denver were quiet, but not empty. A Honda sat at a red light on Colfax, right where it meets Interstate 25. Then a Range Rover rolled up behind it, and just as it was coming to a stop, it rear-ended the Honda. A minor tap, barely a crash. Then a dark-hooded figure stepped out of the Honda, gun in hand. No hesitation. He fired 15, maybe 20 shots, straight into the Range Rover. Then, as if making sure the job was done, he climbed back into the Honda, aimed out the window, and fired 2 more shots at the Range Rover before speeding off into the night. Jaden was on her way home that night, just another routine drive through Denver. She didn't think much of the red light at Colfax until the gunfire started.
Pop, 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 pop. At first, it didn't register what was happening until the cars in the 2 lanes next to me started going.
Sharp pops cut through the air, one after another. Cars in the lanes next to her started rolling forward. That's when she knew something was happening.
And then I realized I had said, oh shit, something's happening, and I ducked down, and several more happened.
More shots rang out. When she finally lifted her head, he caught a glimpse of the scene.
And I pulled next to the car, barely got a glance. It looked as though the window was either rolled down or shot out, but I believe that the window was out. I didn't look at the windshield or see inside the vehicle.
She couldn't see inside, couldn't tell who had fired the shots.
And then the car that was in front of them sped off. I went behind them, but pretty far back because they went pretty quickly, and got off on Federal.
Jaden didn't follow. She took her own turn, distancing herself from whatever had just unfolded. At that moment, she didn't know exactly what she had witnessed, but she knew it wasn't good.
Got off on Federal, and I didn't obviously see what occurred because the car was obstructing my view, so I didn't know at the time if the shots came from the car in front or inside the vehicle, but that's what I saw.
Jaden hadn't counted the shots in the moment, but she guessed there were 5 to 7 at first.
I'm gonna call it 5 to 7, perhaps.
Then a pause, just a second or two, before a few more rang out.
Okay, and then you said you ducked down and heard several more pops. How many more do you think you heard?
Perhaps 3.
Okay.
Jaden was preoccupied. She was driving home from an appointment.
And you never saw anybody get in or out any vehicles?
No.
Okay.
I, in my mind, thought it was fireworks or something.
Sure.
And just wasn't paying attention.
At first, it crossed her mind that maybe they were fireworks, but as the noise echoed through the street, she realized this was different. This was real. She ducked her body, reacting before her mind fully caught up. The sound was sharp, unmistakable, gunfire. She felt exposed, vulnerable. She ducked lower, hoping she wouldn't feel the sudden, searing pain of a stray bullet.
I recognized the sound of gunshots, and I thought perhaps one was going to hit me.
Fear didn't hit her right away. It was more of a delayed reaction, creeping in after the moment had already passed. But the thought stuck with her. If she had been just a little closer, just a little slower, maybe things would have turned out differently. Jaden wasn't the only witness. Many more experienced the same terror. Alex Martinez had been on his way home from a soccer game when the gunfire shattered the night. At first, he wasn't paying much attention. His music was up, drowning out the usual city noise. But then, flashes of light. His stomach dropped. That wasn't streetlights. That wasn't fireworks.
I did not physically see the weapon.
Okay.
I seen the light from when you shoot the gun, and you have the light and the sound.
Okay.
So that's what I heard.
Unlike Jaden, Alex actually saw the shooter.
When he got out, he had his hoodie on, and he turned to face towards north, and all I see is the side of his forehead. So literally right here.
The figure turned just enough for Alex to catch a glimpse of his forehead. He wasn't tall, maybe 5'6" or 5'7". Then he lifted his arm, partially hidden by the roof of the car. Alex didn't need to see the weapon to know what was happening. The gunshots told him everything. 6 flashes, 6 sharp bursts of light, each one sending a wave of adrenaline through his body. The Honda was already speeding off, disappearing into the night. Alex didn't stick around to see where it was headed. He just kept driving, pulse hammering, knowing he had seen something he wasn't supposed to. Meanwhile, first responders rushed to the scene. Officers and paramedics moved fast, closing in on the Range Rover where a woman sat slumped over, bleeding.
Ma'am, I'm gonna cut your seatbelt, okay? I'm Officer Lipper with the Denver Police Department, okay?
An officer pressed down on her wounds, trying to slow the bleeding. There were multiple shots, some to her face. It was bad.
Here, I'm just gonna keep some pressure on him, okay? Yeah. Hey, she took quite a few, about 4 or 5 rounds to the face.
How many? Is just she the only victim?
She's the only victim. She's slowly bleeding.
They worked quickly, checking for an ID, searching her purse.
See if I can find an ID in her purse. Yeah. I don't know how you want to do this. You want to put the seat back so we can get to her?
One of them called out, trying to get a response. Nothing.
What's your name? Can you tell me your name?
I'll get over this.
She was the only one in the car. No passengers, no witnesses inside. Just her, barely hanging on. They tried adjusting the seat to reach her better, fumbling with the controls. Every second counted.
Hey, Scott, hold that seat. It's not going. Is there anything behind the seat? No.
Call electric. Hang on, I've got it.
But the truth was already sinking in. This wasn't just another traffic stop gone wrong. This was a hit, and whoever pulled the trigger was long gone. An officer stepped around to the back of the SUV. Glass crunched under his boots, the rear window was blown out. The front of the car was no different. Bullet holes tore through the glass. He counted them, one by one.
I counted 8 shots. 8? Yeah, there's one right above the left windshield wiper. So that's 2 out of, like right there.
The license plate, that's probably hers.
That's the same one as on the back.
Okay, that's probably hers.
8 shots, just in the windshield alone. Another officer searched the purse again. Nothing. No ID, no wallet, just an empty bag. Whoever she was, they had no name yet. Another officer called out for gloves.
Hey, you got gloves? Nitrile gloves?
I got one.
There's just one here, pick it up, and there's one over here, pick it up.
Are you okay? What's your target?
I photographed it.
Evidence needed collecting. Shell casings, bullet fragments, every piece mattered now. Finally, an officer found something in the car with her name on it.
Might be a Pamela. Is that her birth? Yeah, I'm trying to find an ID. Is there more than anybody else? No, it's just one person. Could you hold that open while I look through it, please?
Her full name was Pamela Cabriales. She was just 32 years old. Pamela was heading home after dinner with a friend that night. Pamela worked as a real estate agent. She had no affiliations to any gangs, no criminal record. She was a hardworking mom to her 6-year-old son, Leo. Pamela Cabriales fought for days in the hospital, but the damage was too much. She didn't make it. Just like that, a mother was gone, and now there is a child left behind, waiting for someone who would never come home.
Hours later, an officer recognizes the assailant's car from a previous incident involving shots being fired into a McDonald's. The teens allegedly led police on a short chase before crashing and running into a neighborhood where two of the suspects can be seen running down a sidewalk.
The next day, a Denver police officer spotted a Honda linked to a different shooting, a gang-related incident at a McDonald's where multiple shots had been fired. At the time, the officer didn't realize this was the same vehicle connected to Pamela's murder, but the people inside needed to be questioned. When police tried to stop the car, the suspects took off. A short chase followed, ending when the vehicle crashed. 3 teens bailed out, sprinting through a quiet neighborhood,
before making a quick about-face and running in the other direction.
Surveillance cameras caught 2 of them running down a sidewalk before suddenly turning back the other way. They hid in a nearby shed, but it didn't take long before the police closed in.
And for police to respond and arrest all 3 suspects.
Officers swarmed the area, cutting off escape routes. Within minutes, all 3 suspects were in custody. Authorities found spent shell casings in the car and also in the shed where they were hiding. The car matched the description of the shooting at Calfax, and also the same caliber shell casings. Are these 3 teens involved in Pamela's murder? Authorities need to find out. The first suspect was Remy Cordova. Since he was only 14, he couldn't be interviewed alone, so his mom sat beside him in the interrogation room.
I'm going to advise you of your rights, and then I'm going to leave the room. And you two need to talk about whether or not you want to talk about this investigation or not. Okay?
Did she just stop him from admission of guilt, or is she hardly able to believe what her son had gotten himself into? No one knows, but one thing was certain. The gang life had real consequences, and now Remy was a suspect in a murder case. Inside the police station, Remy Cordova sat with his mother, away from prying eyes. His mother warned him. The cops were asking if he went by something else. Is he Little Ro? She was a mother trying to protect him. She cut him off before he could admit. When the officers returned, the mood in the room changed.
I'm done, so like it's totally different. Yeah.
Are you guys done talking?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the video back on, okay?
Yes, sir. Do you have my phone number?
The camera clicked back on, and it became obvious the mother knew that Remy was somehow involved. That was it. No explanations, no denials, just a quick signature on the refusal form, and the interview was over. The officers shut off the video. Remy stayed silent, but that didn't mean investigators were in the dark. They already knew who he was, a name in their system, a face linked to gang activity, a juvenile record that spoke for itself. But the next suspect? He wasn't as quiet. 18-year-old Nishan Johnson, the driver of the Honda, had a lot more to say. The questions started right away. Where had he been? Who was he with? What happened that night?
So, Nishan, I just want to figure out what's going on, what happened. If you could just kind of take me through the events tonight, where you were, what was going on, who you were with, and don't worry about me writing. You don't need to catch up. Just go and I'll catch up with you. I'm just taking down some things. Don't worry about any of that, okay? That's just for me. So if you want to just start, work backward or forward, however you want to do that. I mentioned westbound Colfax to I-25. Do you know what I'm talking about with that?
No.
Okay.
When the officer mentioned Colfax and I-25, Johnson hesitated. He said he didn't know what that was about. The officer tried again, asked him to just walk through his night.
Well, let's talk how just your night went where you were. Let's start with that.
I was with my auntie and my god sister.
Okay.
It was like Jewel. It's like behind. It's Federal and Jewel behind the McDonald's. I was there all day with them and chilling with them, and then I left. But around 12, 11? No, it was like 11, because I think police got behind us like around 12 o'clock. So they came and picked me up at 12.
Johnson stuck to his story at first, saying he had nothing to do with the shooting, but the timeline started to get messy after he left Aunt's place.
When you mentioned 12, are we talking 12 noon during the day or 12 midnight at night?
Like towards night.
Okay.
I was there, I was at my baby mom's, then I left. And then I went to my cousins. And then my partners came to pick me up.
That's when the police got behind them. He said his friend had picked him up around that time. He said he started texting his friend around 9:55, telling him to be ready. And by 11, they had to come pick him up. At first, he made it sound like it was just one person, but then he slipped, referring to they. The detective caught it immediately.
Okay, and I ask it because you say they. When you say they, it leads me, and I'm not trying to trick you, I'm saying they leads me to believe there's more than one person.
Yeah.
If you're not saying he came to get me, you're saying they came to get me. So who's with him when he comes?
He had a partner in the car.
Okay.
But I didn't know him, so I don't even deal with him, you feel me? I wasn't even talking to him, so.
Where was he sitting in the car?
He was in the back seat.
Okay.
When I came out, by the time I came out, he was in the back seat.
Is he black, white, or Hispanic?
To be honest, he looked at white to me, you feel me? But I wasn't really paying attention to him.
Okay. Was he kind of slim like yourself, or kind of husky or
a
fat
little
like
huskier,
me? Okay.
Probably. I don't know.
You catch his name?
Nuh-uh.
The detective kept digging, asking where the guy was sitting, what he looked like, if there were any weapons in the car. Johnson brushed it off, said he wasn't focused on that, but the detective wasn't buying it. The more Johnson talked, the more the details started changing, and it was only a matter of time before the whole thing started to unravel. Johnson tried to explain why he fled, saying the icy roads made it hard to stop. The detective wasn't convinced. He asked again why Johnson didn't just pull over.
Why? Tell me more about why you didn't stop.
Cause I don't have no driver's license, I ain't gonna lie, that's the only thing. If I had a driver's license, I'd pulled over. But I don't have no driver's license, so.
Johnson admitted he didn't have a driver's license, and without it, he figured running was his best option. That led to more questions.
When you see the police on the side of you, as you're driving, you make the turn, hit the curb, they light you up, you decide not to stop. When you notice the police, who notices them first, you or the other two guys in the car?
To be honest, we all did, because they was right next to us.
Tell me more about the conversation going on in the car about the 5-0 being next to you.
And we was just like, police right next to us. I was like, I'm going home.
Okay.
He just wanted to get home. Then the detective shifted focus. What about the others in the car? He kept saying he was just trying to go home, but the detective wasn't letting up. He knew there was more to the story, and Johnson's version wasn't adding up.
Did Lil Roe or the guy in the car talk about being on one, or being that they had a heater in the car, or being concerned about the police bumping you guys up with anything in the car?
Nah, see, they didn't tell me trying to worry about nothing. They was like, big bro, cool, you feel me? They was like, I guess they was trying to hide it from, cause I get on their ass, you feel me? If y'all doing something stupid, you feel me? Come to my house, nigga, we could eat, food, treat, whatever y'all want, y'all could come to my house. Y'all don't have to do no dumb, you feel me? Cause nigga, I just got through done doing that. Group home, foster home, so I don't want to be done in and out of jail. Nigga, I got 2 kids. I got 2 little girls, so nigga, anybody younger than me, I take them under my wing and I try to show them anything better.
Okay.
And they know if they tell me anything stupid, I'm gonna go off on them. So that's probably the reason why they didn't tell me nothing, whatever they did.
Okay.
Before they came, cause I've been on their ass, and then I wouldn't even got in the car. Mm-hmm. Like, what are y'all doing?
Okay.
Like, come on, cuz don't. I'm mad they put me in a predicament like this anyway. Like, nigga, don't put me in no predicament like that. But
Nishan insists that he had no idea what the others were up to. He claims they didn't mention anything about weapons or being worried about the police. But as much as he tries to separate himself from whatever happened, the detective isn't buying it. He admitted he jumped out of the car and hid in a shed. He claimed he froze, waiting until officers found him. But the detective can tell there's more to the story. Nishan just isn't ready to say it yet. Nishan said the other 2 bailed the second they could. He had no choice but to scramble out too. He barely knew Denver. His real home is in Georgia. The detective listened but doesn't let him steer the conversation too far.
So tell me more about getting into the shed.
I was just in the shed and I went to sleep. After I went to sleep, I hear people. And then that's when I was in the shed, and that's when the dog came in.
Okay.
Dog come in. I'm surprised the dog didn't attack me. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm slick blessed today. Cause the dog didn't exactly attack me. He smelled me, walked away, smelled me again, walked away. And then after that,
he thought maybe, just maybe, he'd get lucky. But when the SWAT team moved in, the dog went into full takedown mode.
When like SWAT team came in, that's when he started tripping for real. Like when the dude said "op" or some command, he was on it. And that's when he chipped me. He chipped my back and my foot. I was like, hey, I don't do none of that. I don't want to get bit. Whatever y'all say.
Nishan didn't fight it. He didn't want to get bitten. He gave up as soon as they told him to. The detective pushes again. Was anyone else in the shed?
Okay.
And it was like, okay.
At any time when you're in the shed, did you meet up with Lil Ro or the other white guy?
No, they never came back.
So was you in the shed all by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else was with you?
Nope.
And was it in a front yard, a backyard?
I was in like the back medium. Like that was weird type to be honest.
Did you know whose shed it was?
Nuh-uh.
Did you know whose house it was?
Nuh-uh.
Nishan insisted he was alone the whole time, but the detective knew he was lying, and Nishan's version of events is only getting shakier. The detective doesn't let up. He circles back, asking Nishan to walk through every moment again. Who said what, who did what, and exactly how it all went down.
What is the conversation in the car?
Really was no conversation in the car. But they could go.
I'm sorry?
I said it wasn't no conversation in no car, but go.
But go?
Yes.
Why was that?
I don't know.
Okay. Earlier you told me because you didn't have a license.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't have no license, but that's what they was telling me. You said what was the conversation?
Okay.
You feel me? You said what conversation did we have while the police was behind us?
And who was telling you to go?
Little bro. He was like, bro, just go. You feel me? I mean, don't have no license. Okay. You feel me? I'm not finna pull off.
Did little bro say he was hot?
Nah.
Did he say
nigga go?
Okay.
You know how nowadays this young generation gonna run from the police or do anything from the police now, you feel me? So
you listened to him. So you listened to him and you went.
That's how it was, you feel me? Type shit.
Okay.
Nishan blamed Remy Cordova for everything. Remy panicked, yelling at him to go. He didn't want to run, but he had no license, and Remy kept pushing, so he hit the gas. The detective then asked him to estimate how long the chase lasted.
From the point you saw the police to the point that it gets slippery and you end up crashing, how much time passed?
I don't know.
How much would you say? A minute? 5 minutes? 30 seconds?
I say a minute.
Okay. And then when you crash, what do?
Get out the car and run.
Okay. Did anybody tell you?
Go to a shed.
Huh?
And go to a shed.
Okay.
I went to the shed I was in.
Again, the detective presses him. Who ran with him? Did anyone follow? Nishan sticks to his story.
All right. Anybody go with you to the shed?
No.
Did anybody follow you?
No. I was in there by myself.
Okay, you're in there by yourself?
Yes. I was in there by myself the whole, 2-3 hours. I took a nap and all.
But the detective isn't just interested in where Nishan hid. He's fishing for something else. Then the detective zeroes in on a very key moment. That 1-minute window when everything happened fast. The police lights, the chase, the crash, the escape.
In that 1 minute when you see the police and then you go, you crash, you get out, you dip, and you go to the shed, you say by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Anybody give you anything before you got out of the car?
No.
Anybody ask you to hold anything?
Nishan had been insisting he was alone in the shed. He's been denying that anyone gave him anything. But now, the detective drops a bombshell.
Okay. You know why I'm asking all these questions? Because the shed you were found in, those shell casings match at our murder scene. Can you explain that to me? And you said nobody's in the shed with you. Okay? You're in there by yourself. But the same caliber shell casing that's in the shed where you're at is the same caliber at our murder scene. Can you explain that to me if nobody handed you anything?
No, nobody handed me nothing.
Okay, so how did that end up in the shed with you? Oh, I ain't gonna cut it.
I don't know.
Okay.
The detectives keep pressing. This is his chance to be honest. Either he was at the murder scene, or someone handed him something that tied him to it. But the story he's been telling, it doesn't add up.
Your chance to be honest, okay? And I'm not saying you're not, so please don't be offended by that. Okay, but I don't know is not going to cut it. As I told you before when we first started, it's a homicide investigation. I told you you're not free to leave. Okay? You remember that? Okay. If you were there for something or somebody asked you to hold on to something, I need to know. Okay? And not just for myself, but for yourself. You got a kid, right?
2.
You want to see those kids grow up?
Yes.
Do you want to be able to hold them and not be behind glass when you see them? Or do you want them to come and visit you during yard time? Again, I'm not threatening you, I'm not upset with you, but I'm telling you, this is the road we're going down. You're digging yourself a hole here, so if you have something, you know something, Nishan, now's the time to tell me. Okay, you tell me you were by yourself when you ran. Nobody else was in that shed. I asked you several times that question. You're adamant nobody was. Okay? So it's one of two things. Either you were there at that murder scene, or somebody gave you something to hold on to. So now's your chance to help yourself. Don't dig yourself a hole. You got one foot in this hole right now, Nishan. Okay?
Nishan stares at the detective blankly. The weight of the moment is settling in. The detective isn't backing off. And now, Nishan has to decide, stick to his story or start talking.
What would you like to do? You want to tell me who gave you something, or if you were there, come clean and tell me.
They ain't give me that, and I wasn't there.
Okay.
White boy just hopped out with me.
Okay.
Nishan hesitates, then suddenly remembers something. Or at least, that's how he presents it. There was someone else in the shed. The white boy.
But I didn't know he had nothing. You feel me? And cuz left the shed.
I'm sorry, he did what?
He went in the shed with me, you feel me? He came in the shed with me and him. But then after that, cuz left, you feel me? That's why I was the only in there, because he was like, "The police in your cuz. Are they about to come in here?" And then he left, and I wasn't finna just, because he wasn't going nowhere.
Okay.
So I stayed in there.
All right.
On everything. He came in there with me. He dropped all the shells. And then after that, guys was like, "Bro, the police, bro," and freaked out and left.
The detective doesn't react, but he knows what's happening. This is what people do when they start feeling cornered. The story that was solid a few minutes ago begins to crack. Little details changing, rearranging. Nishan had been alone. Now, suddenly, he wasn't?
He ain't tell me nothing on everything. He was, when we got in there, I was like hearing pennies. Like I thought it was pennies at first, because I didn't know what it was in his hand. And I was like, "Bro, stop." I was like, "Bro, stop before the police come in or something, or they hear you." I was like, "Alright, bro." And I didn't realize it was shells on there until police flashed the light. You feel me? But I thought it was something else, like he was playing with pennies or something.
Okay.
But I was like, "Bro, stop. Like, bro, stop playing with that, bro." He was like, "Bro, it's my fault, bro." And then after that, nigga, when the police came, nigga, they were shells. So, then again, I think he dropped the shells and knew the police was finna come in and they just leave, you feel me? Because he didn't tell me he was leaving, because I swear to God, I took a nap. I took a nap, and then when I heard, like, the dog, I woke up and I stood up. And the dog smelled me, passed me by. Because that's what really tripped me out, when the dog just smelled me and just left. I was like, what the?
White boy didn't just hide in the shed with him. He brought something with him. He thought white boy was messing around, playing with pennies. But now, thinking back, he realizes it wasn't pennies. It was shell casings. The detectives let the silence hang for a moment, watching Nishan piece it together in real time. First, he was alone. Now, white boy was there. First, nobody gave him anything. Now, white boy might have dropped something. First, he just sat in the shed. Now, he took a nap and woke up to police lights and a K9 sniffing him out. Nishan is unraveling, and the detective knew it. The story is changing too fast. He kept pushing, kept peeling back these layers. Nishan is bound to slip up again. And when he does, the truth, whatever it is, will come spilling out. Nishan's story takes another turn. At first, there were no weapons. Now suddenly, he remembers hearing about one.
Did you ever see any guns? Did they ever talk about the heaters they had?
Nah, they had a gun in the back seat.
Tell me about that.
But I don't know what type of gun it was.
That's okay.
Tell me about that. We got a gun in the back seat. I was like,
hold on. Who said that?
The white dude in the back. He was like, you know, I got the gun in the back seat. And I was like, that's cool for you. And I kept driving. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was
So
really
he
just
says, you know, I got
this gun in the back seat.
this gun in the back
And
seat.
that's when I, like, right when we was at the light.
Is this when the 50 pulls up or
Not
before? So tell me more about that. How does that conversation come up?
I walked in. I walked in.
The detective lets him talk, lets him spin the story out. But the contradictions are stacking up. First, he was alone. Then, White Boy was there. First, no weapons. Now, there was at least one. And the way Nishan describes it, like he was just some guy along for the ride, not paying attention, doesn't sit right.
The bro was on the phone.
With who?
I don't even know.
Okay, what was he saying?
He was saying after he had dropped me off, he was gonna go over there.
After hours of questioning, the detective knew they aren't getting much more from Nishan. He's not cracking, but he's not exactly holding steady either. His story keeps bending, shifting, reshaping itself under pressure. If they want answers, they'll have to look elsewhere. So they move on. The next person in line? The so-called white guy. If Nishan was telling the truth, at least this time, then this other teen might have more pieces of the puzzle. Maybe his version of events might clear things up. Now, since he's a minor, his mother and stepfather were present at the time of the interview. Remember, Remy and Nishan both denied any involvement in the shooting, but when asked about the night in question, the teen comes clean.
Just kind of run me through, when I mentioned this location, do you know what I'm talking about? At Colfax and I-25? Tonight? Or what happened last night? Can you take me through that, just from the beginning there? Who you were with, what was going on?
I was with my friends.
Okay.
He was driving right down I-25, whatever. And then we stopped, and then the car hit us in the back, smacked us. And my friend in the front, he asked the person in the driver's seat if he could shoot at him. And he hopped out and started shooting at him.
Okay.
The detective pushes for details, repeating what he heard to make sure he's getting it right.
I didn't hear you quite. So, if I have this wrong, correct me. You said you were stopped at a light.
We were stopped at a light and someone came from behind us and smacked us with their car.
Okay.
And then that's when my friend and the passenger asked the person in the driver if he can shoot him. And then the person in the driver said yes, and then he hopped out and shot, and then he drove off.
Okay.
Now the detective zeroes in on who was involved.
How many people were in the car with you?
2.
So there was how many total, including yourself?
2.
Including
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you seated?
I was in the back seat.
Okay. Who was driving?
My friend's friend.
Okay, do you know his name? Do you know what he looks like? Yes or no?
Yes.
If you saw a photo of him, do you think you could ID him?
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell me if he was black, white, Hispanic?
Black.
Okay. About how old was he?
19.
Okay. Anything identifying about him? Scars, marks, tattoos, facial hair, piercings?
Right here.
Okay, what was that?
He has a big tattoo right here.
A big tattoo right there?
Yes.
The detective takes it all in. It's a casual conversation about murder at a traffic light. It's messy, and they'll need more to untangle it.
The car behind you guys smacked into you.
Yes.
Your friend Remy asked the driver if he could shoot this person?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. He just asked him and he said yes.
Okay.
And when he started letting off, I told him to get back in the car.
Okay. Tell me more about when Remy gets out of the car.
He pulls the chop out.
When asked about the weapon, the teen casually called it a chop. The detective made him clarify.
So you say the chop. I know what that is. Aaron, your mom may know what that is. People watching this later on may not know what that is. What is a chop?
AR-15.
AR-15?
Yes.
Okay. What color was that?
Black.
Black.
He claimed he never got out of the car.
At any time did you get out of the car?
No, I told him to get back in the car.
Okay. And what does he do? Tell me more
He
about
just
that.
kept shooting and then he finally got back in.
Okay.
After I started yelling at his ass.
Okay, how many times did he shoot?
He let off like 7 rounds.
Okay.
Remembering the exact number of shots fired is an odd detail to remember. The detective leaned in.
Did anybody pick up anything there on the street? Did anybody pick up anything? Did anything fall? Phone, bullets, anything from the car fall out of the car that anybody picked up?
I don't know.
Okay.
Then came the car that hit them from behind.
Do you remember what kind of car smacked into the back of you guys?
It was like this white car.
White car?
Yeah, it was a white van.
Like a white van?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember if the driver of that car was male, female, black, white, Hispanic?
I don't know.
Don't know?
All I know is he just hopped out and started shooting, and I told him to get back in.
The detective let the silence sit for a moment. Then he went back to one key detail. The moment the car smacked into them.
The car smacked you guys from behind. What were you doing?
I was listening to music.
Okay. On what?
On my phone.
The car hit them hard enough that his head bounced off something.
How hard do you think the car smacks you from behind? Tell me more about that.
Smacked me up like this, hit my head.
Okay.
And then that's when Remy started getting mad. And that's when he asked him if he can shoot him. And he hopped down and started shooting at him. And then that's when I was like, get in the car, nigga, what are you doing? Like,
okay.
Keep going.
Was there any argument? Any words exchanged before the shooting?
Was there any verbal exchange between the person that hit you guys from behind?
Hell no.
Okay.
He just hopped out and started shooting it.
Okay.
No argument. No threats. Just immediate gunfire? It didn't make sense. Then they moved on to the car itself.
Car you were in, how many times you been in that car?
That was like the second time.
Okay. When was the first time?
Like a couple days before that.
Okay. Whose car is it?
I don't even know.
Okay, fair enough. So the car smacks you guys. What do you do after Remy gets back in the car?
I told him to get in the car, and then the person in the driver skirted off down Colfax.
Okay.
The detective didn't rush him. He let the teen talk, let the details spill out naturally. They left the scene, heading down Colfax.
Where do you guys go down Colfax? To where?
No, I don't know exactly where we went to his empty house, but we went down Colfax.
How far?
Like we just went straight down until when we got to like Union.
Okay. And then what do you do?
That's when we went to his auntie's house.
Okay. Where does the auntie live?
I low-key don't remember. I was sleeping.
Okay. Were you asleep when you pulled up?
Yeah.
That was another piece of the puzzle. The teen was claiming he was asleep again. Then they moved on to the gun.
Remy shoots. What does he do with the AR?
Puts it in the car.
Where at in the car?
He put it in the back seat.
Okay. Where you're at?
Yeah, on the left side.
All right.
The detective took that in. So the gun had been inches away from him. He asked again, where had he been sitting?
Where are you seated?
On the right side.
Behind the driver or behind Remy?
Behind the passenger.
Okay, so you're behind Remy.
At first he puts it in the car and he has it next to him, like right here on the floor.
Okay.
And then he puts it into the back when we're going down Colfax.
After the shooting?
Yeah, after when we get closer to his auntie's house.
Okay.
But that's when I just fell asleep. I don't really remember nothing else.
The detective made a note. That was 3 times now the teen had claimed to be asleep, but there was still more to ask.
At any time last night, Saturday night, baby mama's house, driving before you fell asleep, did you ever handle that AR? Meaning hold it, touch it?
No.
If I print it, am I going to find your fingerprints or your DNA on that gun?
No.
Okay.
I didn't handle that gun.
Okay.
I might have pushed it over, but I was not handling that gun.
Okay.
Because Remy, that's his gun.
All right.
If they found his prints, it would only be because he had pushed it out of his way.
If you would have pushed it over and touched it, what part would you have touched so I know?
Like on the top, like
on the stock, they call it the stock on the top.
Right here, like and then like right here, like
okay.
Next to the trigger, like you know the little piece that comes down like this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like right there, because I had to move it away from me. I pushed it over.
Okay.
And that's where my prints would be.
Okay.
Then the detective moved on to the atmosphere in the car.
Before you fall asleep, what's the discussion in the car about what just happened?
They don't even say nothing. They're not even talking.
Okay. At any point, even after Auntie's house, do you guys talk about this?
No, because I got woken up to getting yelled at. The cops are chasing us.
Okay.
And then that's when we crashed.
Right.
No one spoke about what just happened. No arguing, no panic, just nothing. And then the chase.
Tell me more about being woken up. The cops are chasing you guys.
Remy was like, bro, the cops are chasing us. They're behind us, bro. They're behind us. And then I had woken up and I was sleeping in the back. And I was like, what? And I looked behind us and the cop is right behind us following us. And then the driver starts going fast. And then the cop turns the lights on. And then we go down this one street and we hit a big pothole. And then that's when the car went up and then he lost control. And then I don't even remember. All I know is I just got out the car.
Okay.
The next thing he knew, he was outside the wreck, standing in the street.
Started walking up the block.
Did you walk or run? And if you ran, that's okay.
I started walking. The other two, Remy, he was running. I was just jogging. I was like,
okay.
Because, like, I didn't know he did something. I don't know he did something. Like,
well, hold on a minute.
Like, I didn't know something that bad happened. I didn't know someone got killed.
Well, but he fired an AR into a car.
I know.
What did you think was going to happen?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
He said he was trying to aim towards the engine.
Okay.
That was the excuse. That was the plan. Take out the car, not the person inside. But was that true? Did Remy really think that? Or was it just something to say after the fact?
You walk off. Why don't you stay there?
Because, there's guns in the car. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it was a stolen car. I didn't know that until a couple days before, yesterday. So that's why I was jogging. And then, yeah.
That's why you were what?
I was jogging up the street.
Okay.
I didn't take off how they was running, because they was running fast. I was just speed walking.
He didn't sprint like the others, but he wasn't about to stand there and wait for the cops to grab him.
Do you meet up with either Remy or the driver?
Yeah, the driver.
Tell me about that.
I met him when I was walking. I saw him in an alleyway.
Okay, where was he?
He was in that little alleyway where he was just in an alleyway and I just saw him walking.
Okay. Where did you guys go?
I kept walking. I was just there's a cops all throughout the block.
Well, he tells me that he's with you.
He said that to you.
Yeah. Okay. So he says you guys went in the alleyway. Where were you guys?
We was in an alleyway.
Okay.
That's where I saw him first, but then after that we went out of the alleyway into the neighborhood.
Okay, tell me more about going in the neighborhood.
We started walking through the neighborhood.
Okay, where do you go?
I don't know, over there in Lakewood, but we were just walking around the blocks and we just seen there was cops on every single block.
Okay. Where were you found?
I was found in an alleyway.
Okay. In what?
It's the alleyway. I was just walking down the alleyway and they told me to freeze and get on my knees.
Let me get to the point. Were you in a shed? Yes or no?
No.
Never in a shed?
No, I wasn't in the shed. I might have been in someone's backyard, but I was not in the shed.
Okay, if you were in a backyard, who were you with?
I was with the driver.
Okay. What'd you and the driver discuss?
We didn't discuss nothing. I was just like, bro, I'm not finna get in trouble for this. And I just walked out the alleyway. I was like, I do not care. Bro, I didn't do shit.
Okay.
But what am I getting in trouble for? For y'all doing it.
Okay. And I apologize about earlier about the hypothermia. That's not you. That's my fault. Okay. So I apologize about that. Okay.
Because I was because we're standing in the backyard and I'm like, bro, you sound dumb if you think we're gonna get away. There's cops on every single block. You sound stupid. So I'm like, he stays there in the backyard. I'm like, all right, bro, peace out. I walk out of the alleyway. They got me.
Okay.
I didn't do nothing, so I'm gonna be like, all right, freely
The detective stepped out, leaving the teen alone with his mom and stepdad. There was no sugarcoating it, no soft words to ease him into what was coming. They laid it all out in front of him.
Now you're gonna end up doing time over someone else's bull.
How am I doing time over someone?
Because someone died. Someone died.
It
doesn't matter what you know or what you think you didn't know. Someone died last night. Someone died. This isn't a game. This is a big deal. This isn't like, oh, you stole a car and didn't go to school. Like, someone lost their life, dude.
Behind somebody's dumb that you was in the car with.
His stepdad piled on, calling out the choices that got him here.
Riding around thinking that this is hot.
He obviously doesn't give a fuck about anything. His life, his kid's life, anybody's life, apparently. And you're hanging out with him. Do you think he gives a fuck? Obviously not. This cop don't know if you touched that gun or not.
The cops didn't know if he touched the gun or not. Maybe he didn't, but that wasn't the point anymore. The point was, he was tied to something bigger than he ever expected, and there was no walking away from it now. The detective returned, no longer just asking questions. Now he had something concrete.
This next question is important, okay? All right. I'm going to ask you this. Be honest with me. Okay? All right. Did you shoot?
No.
Okay, and I'm asking you that because...
Did I say I did?
Someone independent said they saw you. They described you to a T in what you're wearing, that you were the shooter.
I promise I was not the shooter.
Okay, well, promise ain't going to cut it.
I wasn't the shooter.
So,
Remy hopped out and shot him.
Okay.
The detective wasn't interested in promises. He wanted proof. And when he brought up DNA, the teen hesitated.
So again, when I swab for DNA, am I going to find your DNA on that trigger guard on that rifle? On that AR-15, am I going to find your DNA?
Probably because I moved it, yeah.
He had touched the gun. He had moved it. But that didn't mean he fired it.
Someone said it was me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to step over here real quick.
Okay.
Someone said it was me.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I didn't shoot. I know for a fact I didn't shoot.
The weight of the accusation started to sink in. His mother couldn't control her emotions any longer.
Help me explain why I should believe you.
I mean, you don't have to believe me, but...
No, he has to believe you, dog. That's the thing.
All right.
He repeated it again, almost to himself this time. He knew he didn't shoot.
Look,
listen to me.
I know I didn't shoot that gun. I know I didn't because he even asked Rashawn if he can shoot before he even shot the gun and hopped out.
The detective told him point blank he wasn't buying his whole sleeping story. A shooting had just happened. Someone was dead, and the teen expected him to believe he fell asleep?
And all those times, how many times after that have you fallen asleep? Because you know how many people sat in that chair and told me the same thing you're telling me? Because I don't believe you. Okay.
I never felt like I really fell asleep.
Well, I find it hard to believe you
When
just...
we was at his auntie's house, I really fell asleep.
Okay.
I was just laying down in the back with a blanket slumped.
So you've just witnessed a shooting that's turned into a homicide, and you're going to tell me now you've fallen asleep? I know you didn't. But my point is somebody shot with an AR-15, a high-power rifle, and you're telling me within an hour after, within 30 minutes, you fall asleep?
I really did fall asleep.
Okay.
For real. I really, for real.
Okay.
I really did fall asleep in the back.
Okay.
And then they woke me up saying the cops were behind us.
Who's they?
Remy and Rashawn.
Okay. Did you ask them to stop?
Huh?
Did you ask them to stop?
Yes. I was like, bro, why are you going so fast? He was just going fast.
Tell me more about that.
And he just going fast, and he just smacking everything in his way. And then we get to the main street, and we go down. It's a hill. Boom, pothole. Flip up. I hit my head, and then I don't remember it. I just hopped out.
Okay.
All I know is I just started flying around in the car, hitting my head on everything.
All right.
The detective leaned in, watched the teen closely. He really had nothing to hide. Why did he run? Why not just stay put when the cops showed up?
If you've done nothing wrong, just explain to me the best you can. Why do you leave? Why do you walk off? Why don't you stay outside the car when the police show up? Why do you walk off?
Because I thought I was going to get in trouble for the guns. The gun was right next to me.
Okay.
The AR-15 was on the left of me, like I told you. Remy put it in the back, and then that's when I moved it over to the left of me.
Okay.
So I was not trying to get in trouble for two guns that was in the car, and they was going to leave me.
Okay.
They was going to leave me. They already ran.
Okay.
What about the bullets? Had he picked up any casings?
How about any casings, any live rounds did you pick up or have on your person or in your possession?
I found some 22s on the floor, and I picked them up and put them in my pocket.
Tell me more about that.
That's it. I found some.
Okay, what'd you do with them?
I put it in my pocket.
And then what'd you do with them?
Nothing. They were just in my pocket.
Okay. Did you ever see the driver, or you're calling Rayshawn, did you ever see him with any ammunition or any spent shell casings? You know what spent shell casings are?
Like, after you done shooting? I think I had the 223s.
Huh?
I had the 223s from the AR-15.
Who did?
Rashawn.
Why
it
did
was
he?
all through the car.
Okay.
And I guess some of them landed on him.
Okay. Did you have any?
Then came another curveball. The detective told him Nishan claimed the teen had casings.
Okay. Why would he say that you had them and you dropped them?
He said I had them?
Yes.
He's lying. I never had that.
Okay.
I never had no shell casing that was empty.
Okay.
I only had those little 22s that I found on the ground.
The detective let the words hang in the air. Then, after a long pause, he stood up. The interrogation was over. In the end, the truth unraveled, piece by piece. The teen's story had gaps, and the detectives knew it. But the bigger picture was clear. Remy Cordova had pulled the trigger that night, and Pamela's life had been stolen in an instant. Prosecutors later revealed Cordova's motive. He was trying to climb the ranks in the gang world.
Remy Cordova was accused of trying to impress gang members when he fired at Pamela Cabriales' car.
His case was too severe for juvenile court, so it was moved to district court. He was charged as an adult with first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder. The second charge came because another driver had been in the line of fire, though they weren't injured. In court, Remy Cordova spoke to Pamela's family.
I want y'all to really know I feel for y'all, and I understand completely, and I'm terribly sorry for the pain that you guys feel. But I cannot take responsibility for something that I did not do.
In November 2023, Cordova was found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 40 years. At just 16 years old, his fate was sealed for decades. Nishan Johnson, the driver that night, didn't escape justice either. In June 2023, he was convicted of multiple charges, including second-degree murder, criminal attempt to commit manslaughter, and vehicular eluding. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. The third passenger, the teen from the interrogation room, didn't face any charges related to Pamela's murder. His story may have been messy, but in the end, the evidence didn't place him at the trigger. As for Pamela, her family refuses to let her name fade. Her memory lives on through her son Leo.
Both my son and I have gone through all grievance stages. What do you do when your child asks you, who's going to take care of me if you die, Daddy? I'm sad because I don't want to lose you. I remember going to this place with my mommy before she died.
A GoFundMe set up for Leo's college fund raised nearly $70,000, a testament to the love and support she left behind. Some choices seal your fate before you even realize it. A gun fired, a young mother gone in an instant, a teenager who thought he was chasing power, but found himself locked behind bars for life. This wasn't just a crime, it was a ripple effect of irreversible damage. Pamela never got to see her son grow up. Leo will only know his mother through pictures and stories. And Remy, who pulled the trigger, he traded his youth for a prison sentence that will outlast his childhood. Violence doesn't make anyone untouchable. It only leaves behind the wreckage of what could have been. If you found this case as shocking as we did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more true crime breakdowns, and comment your thoughts below. Every case has a story. Let's make sure they're not forgotten.